Good afternoon and welcome back to your afternoon 5 State Farm Report. Danielle Drotzman, your host here for 570 WNAX. Thanks for tuning in here today on this Wednesday. Kicking off your program here today with a special guest we're excited to get on. I have Justin Gilpin with me. He is the CEO of the Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. So, Justin, we're excited to get you on here today. Thanks for joining us. And how are you today?
Hey Danielle, it's good to be with you. I'm doing real well down here in Manhattan, Kansas today.
Good deal. Well, we're excited to get you on and just hear a little bit more about the Kansas wheat industry. And I know you guys are harvesting down there too, so maybe getting an update on that progress. But first off, just as you kind of look at the years so far for your wheat producers, maybe just give us a broad overview. I guess, how would you kind of describe the industry in Kansas currently?
Oh well, the wheat industry, it's a challenging year for our farmers this year, not just in Kansas, but kind of across the southern plains and the high plains. We've had challenges with weather impacts. Obviously, that's really having a big impact on this year's crop. Cost of inputs, the entire ag economy is kind of facing some challenges right now, and then you throw on top of that the challenges with lower yields due to weather and where we're at with prices. It's a challenging time that our farmers are facing right now as we're kind of wrapping up wheat harvest with a little bit of a disappointment. Unfortunately, that's hopefully with things with the recent rains can help with the fall crops and kind of have some improvement on some prices and total ag economy as we go into the fall and we start thinking about wheat planting. But where we're at right now, we've definitely been facing some headwinds that we're hearing from our farmers and doing what we can to try to help with them and navigate these challenging times, Danielle.
Gotcha. And I guess, like I mentioned before, and like you mentioned, you're kind of getting wrapped up with harvest a little bit. So maybe just kind of give us a broad overview on how winter wheat harvest went this year.
No, you bet. Right now, we're probably, I think the USDA report as of Monday had us just over 70% complete. I would say we're probably closer to 80 to 85% complete with our harvest as we're up in the northwest corner of the state now and trying to get some fields cleaned up in the central part of the state that were delayed due to rains. It's just a lot of variability this year, Danielle, with this year's crop. I mean, clearly the dominant story with this year is the drought impact and the lower production that we're going to have not only in Kansas but in the entirety of the hard red winter wheat growing for the United States this year. Which is really a disappointment because this crop really went into the ground in good shape in the fall where we had, sometimes getting a stand can be half the battle, and we had decent soil planting conditions and moisture, and the crop went in good shape. We got good stands going into the winter. We just didn't have much of a winter. We didn't get much snow, and then things really dried out as in early spring where we just didn't get rains in February, March, and April, and had major temperature swings and high temperatures, some record heat in March that really got the crop really juminated and ahead of schedule. And being ahead of schedule and being stressed with those wide temperature swings with some freeze events even, it just didn't allow the secondary tillers to maybe come on like what you would normally try to survive a freeze event like we had in March, which really led to a crop that was 3 weeks ahead of schedule, I'd say, Danielle, where we had combines that got started in Kansas on May 22nd, and just one of those type of years where we had an advanced crop and an early harvest, but wouldn't you know, as soon as the combines got out and ready to go, that's when we started getting some rains. And that's put a pause, about a 10-day pause with rains and humidity on getting the crop out of the field. And so we're a little bit closer. We're still a little ahead of schedule, but not as rapidly as ahead of schedule as we were early on. But just, just the challenges that we had with drought. We've kind of faced the challenges of getting this crop out of the field with the rains and humidity. It's just and overall for the state of Kansas, we're looking at a total production of just over 200 million bushels of winter wheat, which was going to put us close to the disastrous year that we had in 2023, which really goes back to the 1960s since we've had a total production that low. As far as like just the variability that we're seeing, Danielle, across the fields, a lot of continuous wheat that it's 10 to 15 bushels per acre, sometimes up to the 20s or 30s. Fallow wheat coming in better in the 40s or 50s, but with those type of yields and where prices are at and the cost of diesel and to harvest and haul the crop, it's again those headwinds that you and I were mentioning earlier that it's created some challenges as we're wrapping up this year's harvest, Danielle.
Yeah, definitely a tough year for the farmer, and that wacky spring that we had and just didn't really help much at all either. So I guess I've kind of heard that since we were kind of seeing some drought conditions, and it just kind of helped with like the disease and insect pressure a little bit. So I mean, was that much of an issue this year, or that seemed to fare pretty good on that side, or how was that?
Right. So we didn't see this year some impact of probably a year ago. What was a dominant story was wheat streak mosaic virus and how it was really widespread across the state and not necessarily localized like we'd seen it before, maybe in pockets out in western Kansas. We didn't see the disease pressure this year. I mean, drought is definitely the dominant story that we've been facing with this crop, and then the rains that hit and kind of stalled out and delayed harvest and farmers being able to get combines into the field. And so we are seeing pockets of some lower test weight and some lower falling numbers due to those rains. But that would be more probably localized with those areas, but not really the widespread disease or insect pressure with this year's crop. Really, drought is the dominant story, Danielle.
Gotcha. And I guess kind of switching gears just a little bit, I guess from a association standpoint, when you look at the industry in Kansas, has there been any current issues or concerns with the industry that you guys are kind of keeping an eye on, or I guess any update on that front of things?
Well, on the association side of things, we work with Kansas Association Wheat Growers and South Dakota Wheat Growers Association and multiple other states, and we all are stakeholders with the National Association Wheat Growers, and of course, seeing the farm bill that came out of the Senate here recently, people are glad to see some movement. There's certainly some things that we're needing to have some discussions on that and how it didn't necessarily match up with the House farm bill. But trying to get those things across the finish line to make sure we have the farm safety net in place, because in a year like this, crop insurance and those farm safety net programs are being emphasized about how important they are, not just to farmers, farm operations, but the rural economies and that velocity of the dollar, being able to pay bills and go to grocery stores and those type of things that those rural economies really depend on. Getting those things in place are really important. Of course, the other thing that we've been pretty vocal about is the Food for Peace program. It's a humanitarian program that has been around since the 1950s, where they use U.S. grown commodities to provide humanitarian assistance. And hard red winter wheat that we grow in the Southern Plains and South Dakota through Texas is a big part of that. And so they have relocating that Food for Peace program from the State Department over to the Department of Agriculture. We see as a positive and potentially a good opportunity to get some hard red winter wheat moving as far as our supply and demand situation. And so we just saw an announcement where there'll be some hard red winter wheat that's going to be loading in Houston in 2 weeks that will be going over through the Food for Peace program to Tanzania, to Africa. And it's always good to see U.S. grown commodities being part of those programs, because And when you think about the broader context of why that's important and why exports are so important, and you look at where we're at with the supply and demand situation, even with this historically low hard red winter wheat crop that we have, it's going to be below, for the United States, below 500 million for the first time in decades. We're going to use domestic use of hard red winter wheat in our own flour mills, around 380 million bushels of wheat. We're going to export around 200 million bushels of wheat. So we're going to use the almost 100 million more bushels of wheat, of hard red winter wheat, than we're going to produce in the United States in this year. But one of the reasons why prices haven't really necessarily responded to that story is because of the carryover stocks that have from the last 2 years have put us still in what the market considers a comfortable carry-out situation. And so it's extremely important that we're still finding ways to get as many bushels moving on that demand side of things through commercial partners, through humanitarian assistance programs, because what we really need is for that balance to shift and have the market recognize where we're at with this year's production and reward the value of what hard red winter wheat is for our farmers, that we can get some better prices and hopefully can help out when we're going through a challenging situation like this, Danielle.
Absolutely. Definitely demand is important and a very cool program there. So, Justin, that's kind of all I have for you here today. Anything you want to wrap up on or I guess leave our listeners with?
Well, it's always good to be with you, Danielle, and I appreciate the opportunity. I want to wish all of your farmer listeners a safe harvest as they get started across as the harvest is moving north and across the United States. And then, of course, I hope everybody has a safe 4th of July weekend as the United States celebrates the 250th. So thanks again, Danielle. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us here today. And you have a great 4th as well. So have a great rest of your day. And yeah, again, thank you. So. All right. And again, that's Justin Gilpin. He is the CEO of the Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers joining us here today. We'll take a quick break and then we'll take a look at some ag weather and then be back with your commodity wrap. So stay tuned.
WNAX Yankton, your local solution to get your business wanted, found, and chosen more often. We are